Hello, this is Jamel Boukabou, two-star executive with Youngevity International. Another 1 hour of Dr. Wallach, 20-minute lecture, 20-minute Q&A, and you are welcome to share this with whoever you like. Please get in touch with your referrer or associate if you're interested in getting the products at wholesale or becoming a distributor like myself and earning money at the same time. I'm not a doctor or a healthcare professional, so please contact your own, but here is the doctor that I think is the best on the planet, Dr. Joel Wallach. My name is Jamel Boukabou, and this call is for everybody. Of course, we have the world-famous Dr. Joel Wallach, who's not only behind me in my room here, but he's also live on the call. Moderator Mike, Ken Smith, is going to give us a bit of an introduction as well. We're going to hear a lecture on Dr. Wallach and what he would like to share with us in Australia and New Zealand and all over the world. And then we're going to go to Q&A. So I do ask for everybody to stay muted on their end until we go to Q&A. You can put your questions in the chat box on your Zoom call, and I will get to all of you. And then you can speak to Dr. Wallach personally and ask him a question in about 20 minutes. Ken Smith, if you want to do us a brief intro, and we'll get into the...
Well, absolutely. Welcome, Doc. Doc's with us every Saturday. For those who know who he is, there's no introduction that's big enough or bright enough, but Doc is, he's been around the planet now for over 80 years. 2 books. He's got one in the Smithsonian, which is, the place to have a book, and I think he was about 19 to 21 when he wrote it. So he's the absolute ultimate person to talk about health. And so we're going to let him do that, and he's going to give us a little 20 minutes or half an hour on whatever he feels like giving us, and then a 20-minute Q&A, and we'll keep everybody muted. And but we want you to speak to Doc so that you can get your, up and going. All right, that's me for now, and I'm just going to quietly mute.
Okay, am I on?
You sure are, Dr. Wallach.
Okay, well, thank you for the kind introduction. And it's always good to be with you Australians and the New Zealanders and the Hawaiians and everybody else out there in the Pacific. And so I speak to about 2 million people a week through all these various Zooms all over the world and so forth. So it's quite exciting at this point. And I was looking at the numbers for Australia and for England. England had 6,000 new cases last night. Now, I don't know if that's because they were testing everybody and released all the data, and these were either people with symptoms, without symptoms, they didn't go into that detail, or if it was really, the pandemic's going crazy in England. It's hard to say. I would think that it was they're testing a whole bunch of people and released the numbers of positive antibodies in these numbers that people are testing, 6,000. And so right now, England has 353,842 cases and 37,139 deaths. Australia has a population that is about half of that of England. England's 55 million. You guys are 24 million. And you have 27,000 cases compared to their 353,000 cases. And you have 869 deaths versus their 37,139 deaths. And of course, the COVID is a very interesting virus. Is kind of relative to the SARS and the MERS and the H1N1. And it, in a child of 3 years of age or younger, is a very mild common cold-like symptoms for 3 or 4 or 5 days, and it's over with, no problem. If they get a rise in their body temperature, it won't even be a fever. It'll be like a half a degree. Your temperature goes up much more than that just by exercising. And then, so when you get to be 63 and you get the COVID, you get serious complications. You get to be 73, your serious complications. And if you have these pre-existing conditions, okay, we'll get to them in a second, which they've put into a big conglomeratory they call the metabolic syndrome. if you have these pre-existing conditions, all of which are nutritional deficiencies, they're telling you that you're in trouble, okay? Because your bone marrow is your immune system, and your bone marrow requires these nutrients to make antibodies to fight and kill the virus, to make white blood cells, again, to go and kill and eat the viruses, red blood cells to carry oxygen around, and platelets to keep you from hemorrhaging to death. The most common cause of death in the COVID-19 is not viral pneumonia, which is what everybody kind of thinks it is. No, the most common cause of death is hemorrhaging, okay? And so that's because your bone marrow is affected, because you can't get enough nutrition to the bone marrow, so the bone marrow cannot make platelets, and so you hemorrhage from just simple things, all right? Now, with that said, let's look at the country with the lowest rate of deaths and the country with the highest rate of deaths when it comes to percentages of their infections. Let's look at Italy. They have 60 million people, and they have 304,373 infections, and they have 35,781 deaths. Now, by contrast, Thailand has 66 million, okay, about 20% more population than Italy has, but they only have 3,519 infections and only 59 deaths. So what's the difference between Italy, which has 10% of their sick people die, and Thailand, in which 0.5% of their sick people die? Well, the difference is the Thais in Thailand live like Asians, and they live on rice and sweet potatoes as their energy source. And Italy relies on wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Well, when you eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats every day, you get damage to your intestines. You get irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, diverticulitis, that sort of thing, Crohn's disease. When you look at all those diseases under the microscope, they are the same exact disease. But they give them different names based on what part of the intestines they're involved in. But they're really the same disease, all of which are responses to consumption of gluten, wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So as you get older, you've been eating gluten all your life for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and drinking it on Friday nights as beer and whiskey. It's one of those things where you're getting this constant energy damaging your intestines. It's not you eat gluten once and it's an off-on thing. It's a drip, drip, drip over time. And that's why little kids who've been eating gluten for 3 years, or 3-year-olds, they only have maybe 0.5% of their intestines damaged, and you might get some rashes or asthma, something like that, but it's not really something that's going to drive everybody crazy. But over time, you do get these problems. Now let's look at this metabolic syndrome thing. These are these pre-existing conditions. We're talking about obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease of all kinds, elevated triglycerides in the bloodstream, kidney failure, musculoskeletal stuff. We're talking about arthritis, osteoporosis, sciatica, that sort of thing, osteoporosis, because those are all caused by nutritional deficiencies. And of course, when you get osteoporosis of your bones, you have scar tissue and fat in your bone marrow cavity, and you can't make white blood cells, you can't make antibodies, you can't make red blood cells, you cannot make platelets, and so your immune system is essentially useless. So one of the things to do is to get rid of your pre-existing conditions before you get COVID. Don't wait until you get COVID. Oh my God, I better get rid of my diabetes. I better get rid of my arthritis. No, you'll add 25 years to your life if you get rid of these pre-existing conditions right away. One of the things, it's a blessing that we have the ability to show you this. This is one of my favorite books that Dr. Milan and I wrote. It's called Immortality. And there's a CD that goes along with it, the CD in the book Immortality. And what we did was looked at the top 8 or 10 countries in the world, cultures in the world, who live the longest. What is it they did? How did they cook? What did they eat? Did they supplement? Did they not supplement? And we looked at the agricultural schools in towns and counties and states closest to them, and what they felt about the mineral nutrition in the soil in which they were growing their foods. Well, it turns out that these people who live the longest, they live 25 to 50 years longer than everybody else, is not a genetic thing. It's how they cook and what they eat that determines that. Since the beginning of time, human beings have been slowly living longer and longer and longer and longer. We had more food. Our food supply was predictable. People weren't starving to death because even if there was a flood or fires or something terrible going on where you lived, somebody who is 3 or 4 or 5 days away, they could bring wagon loads of food. And so there was plenty of food for everybody. And in the 1700s, we learned about vaccinations. And so we were able to ward off things like smallpox and that kind of thing, which killed people every year. And we learned about quinine to deal with the fever, which turned out to be malaria. Okay. And so we're learning how to deal with this. We learned how to get rid of thyroid problems by giving people dried algae from the ocean. Now, we didn't know it until 1830, but in 1830, we realized that it was a mineral called iodine in the dried seaweed from the ocean that was what's making the thyroid gland happy. And so things got better and better and better and better until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882. On Pearl Street in New York City, in the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, Thomas Edison and his main technician, Jonathan Leaves, pulled the switch on the first commercial electric generating plants. Within 10 years, suddenly now there were 60 new, quote, genetic diseases, unquote, killing everybody. Okay, well, it turns out these 60 new genetic diseases were really just nutritional deficiencies that had come on us after they started using electricity. Because prior to the use of electricity, our fuel was carbon fuels. We're talking about wood, coal, oil, kerosene, that kind of stuff. And every morning, my job, we didn't have electricity in our little farm in Missouri until I was 9 years old. We used a wood stove, and we used a fireplace for heat and light and cooking and that kind of stuff. And every morning before all the adults would get up, I would get up and I would take the wood ashes outside, put them in the garden, and fertilize the carrots and the beets and the beans and the peppers and tomatoes and so forth, and the squash. And then when the electricity came along, we no longer had access to those wood ashes. Now, wood ashes are the minerals that are left when you burn the wood and the coal. Now, wood and coal were actually carbon compounds, and you burned them for fuel. And the stuff that was left that we called wood ashes or clinkers from coal were really the minerals that were in that source of fuel. And so when we didn't have those minerals anymore, suddenly we were getting all these diseases they hadn't had for thousands of years because they've been using wood ashes in the gardens. They've been using clinkers from coal in the gardens, and they were getting minerals that way. When Grandma was hungry, we didn't have snack foods back when I was a kid, so Grandma would eat. She'd put the wood ashes in her oatmeal in the morning to satisfy her cravings. So when you look at the book we wrote, okay, for that one, let's see here. Okay, the book Epigenetics goes into these diseases that would kill people, said to be genetic. And we have a 2 CD set coming out next month. Okay, we're very excited about that. Bruce Lipton, like Lipton Tea, and myself are the two fathers of the science of epigenetics. And it turns out that epigenetics is the science that tells you, okay, doctors are calling them genetic diseases, but they're really just nutritional deficiency diseases. And then, of course, we have the book Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen is a very interesting book because it goes into specifically obesity and diabetes. Okay, when you have obesity and diabetes, you are really in trouble because it's the nutrient deficiencies that cause obesity and diabetes, or the nutritional deficiencies that significantly impact your bone marrow. Okay, so it's imperative that everybody start giving up the bad stuff, the fried foods, the processed meats, the oils, the glutens, wheat, brown, rye, and oats. But I've been eating oatmeal for 60 years. Why suddenly now is it a problem? Well, it's always been a problem, but it was never off on. It was always drip, 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 and you gradually got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then suddenly you reached a point in which 98% of your intestines are damaged. You can't absorb any nutrients. Even if you're supplementing, and that's when the COVID comes along, the SARS comes along, the MERS comes along, H1N1 comes along, you're in trouble. So I cannot stress enough that we have to really pay attention, get rid of these pre-existing conditions. And it doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, how old you are. If you have these pre-existing conditions, and there's babies who can be born with osteoporosis if the mother is deficient in nutrients. And so these babies are the ones who are really in trouble also. When you say, well, 99% of the babies don't get the problem. Well, what about that 1%? Well, that 1%, their mothers had a problem with absorption and supplementation. And so the babies were born with osteoporosis. Now, people think of osteoporosis as a disease of older people. And of course, the medical profession has missed that one badly. There's 25 different diseases you get when you get osteoporosis of the skull, because the skull goes from 1/4 of an inch thick to an inch thick, and the tunnels that the 12 pairs of cranial nerves go through and your spinal cord go through get plugged with this connective tissue, almost like tendon material. Okay, it's like the rebar in the bones. And you get all these symptoms, these 25 different diseases. You're going to neurologists, you go to dentists, you go to eye doctors, you go to ear doctors, you go to chiropractors, you go to orthopedic surgeons, you go to psychiatrists. All these things are impacted by osteoporosis of the skull by squeezing the nerves in the spinal cord. And doctors, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and assume they don't know that your skull can have osteoporosis. I can't believe that, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they didn't get taught that in school. But your skull is like any other bone. You have a deficiency of those nutrients required to maintain and repair and grow the bones. Guess what? It doesn't matter if it's your knee, your hip, your pelvis, your vertebrae, your skull, your shoulder girdles, your ankle bones, your wrist bones. It doesn't matter. They all go through the same process. And if there's nerves nearby or blood vessels by, you get them impacted. And so we'll eliminate 25 different diseases by taking these 90 essential nutrients and avoiding the bad stuff to maximize absorption. Now, osteoporosis is, although it's a disease, it causes about 100 different diseases. Again, 25 of them are in the skull. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears, Bell's palsy, trigeminal neuralgia, loss of sense of smell and taste, blindness, dental issues, psychological issues, all kinds of stuff, is secondary to osteoporosis of the skull. When you get osteoporosis of the back, you're going to get sciatica. You can get what used to be called Erb's palsy, E-R-B-S palsy, and now it's called Wallach's palsy after me, because Erb's thought it was a genetic thing. I'm saying no, it's a simple nutritional deficiencies and is reversible. Okay, and so and people say, well, you're kind of arrogant naming it after yourself. Well, I was expecting some controversy, but I want people to know for the next 1,000 years that what used to be called Erb's palsy, what is now called Wallach's palsy and Wallach's vertigo, right? These things are actually caused by nutritional deficiencies. You supplement properly, get rid of the bad stuff so you can maximize absorption efficiency. It all goes away if you have it, and if you don't have it, you don't get it. Save you a lot of money, a lot of misery. And of course, you can get atrial fibrillation, which is a squeezing of the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, when you have osteoporosis of the skull. And we have a terrible story here in America. There was a U.S. congressman from Baltimore, Maryland, 68 years old, Elijah Cummings, and he'd been a U.S. congressman, I think, for 35 years. And he got atrial fibrillation, and the cardiologist at Johns Hopkins Medical School in Baltimore, Maryland said, look, you're going to get a stroke. Your heart's running irregularly here, and it's going to cause you to have a stroke, so we need to do an ablation. We have to kill that part of the heart muscle that's running amok here and out of control, and will prevent you from getting a stroke. So this Elijah Cummings said, oh, hey, you're Johns Hopkins. If that's what you say we got to do, let's do it. So the two cardiologists from Johns Hopkins, they put him in the surgery room, anesthetized him, cut his chest open, took the hot soldering iron, touched his heart, and killed him. I mean, they killed him within 10 seconds of putting that hot soldering iron on his heart. I guarantee they went out and had a double cheeseburger with a vanilla milkshake afterwards, and the next day they couldn't even remember Elijah Cummings' name. The third leading cause of death in America, and I'm sure it's similar in all nations that use modern Western medicine, the third leading cause of death in America, hospitals each year, is medical errors. Each year, now this is according to Johns Hopkins, okay, published just, I don't know, 8-10 weeks ago. They said each year in hospitals, medical doctors through medical errors kill 251,000, 440,000 patients in the hospitals each year. And they get a walk. What other industry can you kill 251,000, 440,000 of your customers, your workplace every year and get a walk? There's something wrong with this picture here. Okay, now, The Lancet, which is a British medical journal, just 2 or 3 days ago, since the last time I was on last week, okay, Johns Hopkins, Lancet, the journal Lancet came out and said, medical schools all over the world, including England and all the Commonwealth, they teach their medical students to be pill pushers. All of the pills they teach them to use just treat the symptom. Now remember, this is the Lancet saying this, not me. This is just a couple of days ago. And they said they only treat symptoms. They never teach these medical students how to get rid of the original causal problem. Now, again, do you give them the benefit of the doubt and just say they're just ignorant and they don't know any better? Or do they know that they make more money by milking the cow every day for 20 years by treating the symptoms? For instance, if you do a double knee replacement surgery, you're going to make $50,000 per knee in America. If you just take pain relievers every day for 20 years, you're going to make more than that. So if you take the 90 essential nutrients, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, you rebuild the knees, but you rebuild all the other bones in the body at the same time. But if you get a $50,000 knee replacement in your right knee, does that fix the left knee too? No. Does it fix your vertebrae? No. Does it fix your shoulders? No. Does it fix your neck? No. And so you have to begin to take part here in what's going on. And again, I urge you to also think about that book, Hell's Kitchen, because it talks about type 2 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes is not a genetic disease. There's 2 nutrients, either one of them missing or both of them missing at the same time. So there's 3 options. One's missing, the other one's missing, or number 3, both are missing. Get type 2 diabetes. You get rid of all the bad foods, maximize absorption. You take what we call the healthy blood sugar pack. And usually within 2 to 6 weeks, you're off your medication for diabetes. You're an ex-diabetic. Now, type 1 is a birth defect. It's not a genetic birth defect, but mama's missing stuff when the bone marrow cells that make that make the beta cells in the pancreas are forming, and so they don't have enough nutrition to do that. And so you might only be born with, say, 10% of the cells you need to make enough insulin. So you have to take insulin injections. Now, we can give you the same healthy blood sugar pack, and you might be able to give up that insulin injections. You still won't have perfect blood sugar, but you won't need medication, okay? But if you have 25, 30% missing, and you really are in trouble, you may be able to reduce your medication by, say, 50%. But type 2 diabetes makes up 98% of the diabetic population. That's totally 100% reversible. The last one we have time to talk about, I think, before we get down to asking questions, is kidney dialysis. When you have kidney dialysis, 99% of the time there's nothing wrong with your kidneys. But my blood test shows my kidneys are not filtering the urine. That's true. That's because your kidneys are not getting the urine. When you have kidney issues, the blood vessels, the arteries carrying the dirty blood into the kidneys to be filtered, are plugged with plaque. Now, cholesterol does not cause plaque. There is no cholesterol in plaque. Cholesterol does not cause any heart disease. So if you're on statin drugs, you need to get off of statin drugs. Now, you got to get rid of the bad foods, fried foods, processed meats, oils, salad dressings, cooking oils, gluten, wheat, butter, oats, and sugar, because they cause the inflammation that results in the plaque in the arteries. Okay? And when you have plaque in the arteries, you don't just have plaque in your coronary arteries. You know, they want to do a bypass surgery. They want to put stents in your coronary arteries. What about all the other arteries in your body? They also have plugging in them. And so you're much better off adding to the basic program, or 90 essential nutrients, adding the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets 3 twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. It'll support healthy blood pressure and support healthy blood flows for blocked arteries. And I take people who have not urinated. They have not urinated in 10 years. They're on dialysis 6 days a week. And I put them on this program, okay, and get them on the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, get them on the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, get them on the collagen, the MSM, vitamin D3, collagen. And within 2 to 4 weeks, they are off of their dialysis and urinating properly. And most of them in 2 weeks are urinating, and they drop their dialysis from 6 days a week down to 3 days a week. And then another 2 to 4 weeks are totally off of dialysis because it was an artery problem. I was able to get rid of the plugged arteries by changing the diet and give them the nutrients necessary to heal the arteries and get the blood flowing into the kidneys. Now, all of this is in these books. These things are in these books, and I had to make a little editorial correction here. I have 15 best-selling books. I got another one that's going to be coming out here early next year. Okay, maybe the end of this year, or certainly the first month or two next year. And it's called The Greatest Stories Ever Told. It's about 120 testimonies, primarily of kids and famous people. Kids and famous people. And this book goes into these kids that have these terrible things. You know, they're on dialysis 6 days a week. They haven't urinated in 10 years. And in a couple of weeks, they're urinating on our programs. We had people who, professional athletes that have had their contracts taken away because they get fractures and said, look, you're too fragile to play ball. I rebuild them. They get a $35 million contract and play for 11 more years. And so this is what we do. And so when you get these books, you're going to give the same answer to a question. If somebody in Australia asks you, what do I do for sciatica? Well, if you don't know, you look it up, okay, in Let's Play Doctor, the book Let's Play Doctor, and it'll teach you what to do for sciatica. It's a healthy bone and joint pack, and throw some MSM in there. And you'll be giving them the same answers that I would give, okay? And so you will be able to help your family, your church members, and build a wonderful business by giving a good answer. Now, I do have 110 CDs. We have 2 new ones here. One is called Rare Earths Vitamin Cures. It's a 2 CD set, goes along with the book, Rare Earths Vitamin Cures. One of my best lectures I've ever given. And then a CD and a DVD is Your Doctor Killing You, and goes into all these things that doctors do to you that they shouldn't do that wind up killing you, okay? All published from medical journals. And then lastly, I have a new CD coming out. This is going to be called Red Warning Lights, Red Warning Signals, which goes into the metabolic syndrome and all these terrible things that tell you that you're not getting all the nutrients to your bone marrow, your immune system. Okay, so you want to get a hold of that new one. That'll be ready next week. Okay, so certainly this year yet, the Red Warning Light is coming. And then the other one is epigenetics. Of course, epigenetics. There are no genetic diseases. This represents 8,000 human autopsies. There are no genetic diseases. And all the diseases said to be genetic are nutritional deficiency problems. Okay, we have a CD coming out that goes along with this, epigenetics. And it's 2 CDs, and there's 2 people involved. Bruce Lipton, okay, and myself, both of us about 30 years ago came up with the knowledge that genetic diseases really did not exist. It was a false science. It was really epigenetics, nutritional deficiencies. Now, he came up with a different scenario to get there than I did, but we came up with the same answer. And so a couple of weeks ago, we did a radio interview together for the first time. And so it's going to be in a 2 CD set. It was a 2-hour, it was 1-hour lecture, then 1-hour Q&A, people calling in. And really, really, it shows how we came from 2 different directions to come to the same conclusion. But it really teaches you what you need to do to get rid of your diseases that you were told is genetic. There are no genetic diseases, and you'll be amazed at what you can do for your family, your church mates, your neighbors, all your loved ones, your dog, your cat, your bird, your fish. And you can actually save thousands of people every year. And I'm just so appreciative that you're joining us, as you're part of the Youngevity family. And I can't wait until they lift all this travel ban stuff. Might be in the middle of next year. Who knows what it's going to be. And I'll get back to Australia. I spent a lot of time in Australia. And that's how I met Ken and Jamal. And I spent a lot of time in New Zealand, both Australia and New Zealand. First, I went there with the Air Force. And then afterwards, of course, in the early days with Youngevity. So with that, I'm going to throw it back to you, gentlemen. And I'm yours for the next hour or so.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And every time we have Dr. Wallach on, it's new information. And this is being recorded. So if you need a recording or you want to listen back to this, contact your upline or myself. I post these recordings on the New Zealand corporate page as well. So we are going to get to as many callers as we can, and thank you for entering your comments there in the chat box. That's the best way for me, moderator Mike, and Ken to be able to read your questions. So we are going to go to Karen Hammond, if you want to unmute yourself and ask Dr. Wallach your question. Karen, you there?
Hello, Karen.
Sorry. Hi, Dr. Wallach. Hi, Jamel. Thank you very much. I spoke with you earlier in the year, just after I'd had my procedure. It was via Deb Hall's and Linda's, and I had part of my esophagus removed due to cancer and also a full gastrectomy. And I was struggling to eat at the time, and you offered me some really helpful advice. So since then, I've been able to maintain my weight because weight was dropping off me drastically, and obviously not getting any nutritional things at all. So feeling a whole heap better. But moving forward from that, now that I'm allowed, and I've been actually back on 90 for Life for the last 2 months, so I'm starting to feel more alive again. But what other products would you suggest for me now to make sure I'm adding? I take quite a few things. So the 90 for Life, I do add selenium. I do love the goji berry juice and a number of other different things. But what?
Okay. How much do you weigh now? How much do you weigh now?
I'm 54 kilos.
Okay, so about 120 pounds. And so what I want to do is have you use our Rebound or sports drink with 100 nutrients in it instead of soft drinks. You know, don't drink anything like Red Bull or Gatorade. Don't drink colas and that kind of stuff. And I'd rather have you use our Rebound. Okay, it comes in cans. It comes in these little what we call sticks. 30 individual servings in a box, has 100 nutrients in it, including 78 minerals. And then, of course, we do have more minerals. We have things like strawberry kiwi. The New Zealanders should like that one, strawberry kiwi minerals. And then we do have cherry mints, and we have the unflavored minerals, okay, which you can add to your other 90 for Life drinks and things. And so you just, for snacks and things, you want to be taking these extra nutrients. And of course, we do have, gosh, we got 5,000 products. You can kind of go down and look through them. Yeah. And it'll, you know, if you don't have constipation, you don't need our herbal rainforest. If you have constipation, you're only having one bowel movement every 3 days, then you need to take like a half a teaspoon, start out with a half a teaspoon of herbal rainforest a half hour before you go to bed, and see if that helps you out. And so, you know, we have all these different things, and you want to get the test strips from a pharmacy without a prescription. They cost you US $1.50 per test strip, and check out your blood sugar, check out your urine, see if anything's going on with your kidneys. You can test all this stuff yourself and monitor things. And, you know, it's the fact that you're keeping track of your weight, that's a very good monitor. But thank you for the wonderful testimony. And you've established, I want people to remember that you said that you went back on the stuff and you're feeling better. Well, why did you go off the stuff? How long do you need oxygen? How long do you need oxygen?
Okay. The reason why I went off my stuff, my magic stuff, was because I was on a chemotherapy for 3 months, and because just our stuff is so good, it was actually removing that nasty stuff that was trying to kill the cancer cells. So,
who told you that?
My doctor, of course. Yeah.
Bada bing, bada bang.
I know.
Okay.
You know, it's so hard, isn't it? You know, as a human being, when you're presenting something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what you want to get a second opinion for.
Yeah.
Never trust a doctor to be the sole source of your information, especially when you're in a life-threatening situation. I like to use medical schools because it doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. The medical doctor teaching in the medical school is going to get paid the same. But a private doctor, if he invents some reason for you to have another therapy, another surgery, add on another pharmaceutical, or get put in the hospital for a week or 10 days so he can run a bunch of tests, who benefits from that? The doctor.
Yeah.
So always remember that. Okay, thank you very much for the kind testimony. By you sharing that information, you have helped a lot of people with your testimony. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. And it's great too, because we've been doing these for about 8 weeks now. So it's now time for people to call up and they can get their, tell us how you're going on your nutritional protocol with Dr. Wallach. I've just put a link to Dr. Wallach's official bookstore, which is in the comments there. So if you want to have your comments chat box open, that's how we can communicate during this call. It's drjwallach.com. Now, if you are from Australia or New Zealand, that's where you call to buy Dr. Wallach's books, tapes and CDs. And you need to call during 9 to 5 Pacific time. I buy my Dr. Wallach books, and I buy my Doctors Don't Lie.
And it gives you a summary. Yeah, it gives you a summary what the purpose of each one. Yeah.
Yes. So that is a very helpful tool to build your business as well. And just before I go to the next caller, I will be doing calls on how to build your Youngevity business if you are a distributor. And this call will be for everybody. And we're looking forward to getting guests like Tom Chenault, who's one of the best earners.
One of the best.
Yes, and he's with us with Youngevity for everybody to build their business. And I just recommend anybody contact your upline if you want to do this as a business. And we are going to go to Caroline. If you want to let us know, Caroline Thomas, if you want to unmute yourself, let us know where you're from and ask Dr. Wallach a question. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, thank you. Yes, I have quite a few questions, but I'll start with one. Can you advise what to do for thinning hair? Unfortunately, we can't get the Skin Nows supplement in Australia, but I've been taking the 90, have selenium, gluten off the 12 bad foods, that kind of thing, but noticed my hair's getting quite thin, as I've got very fine hair anyway.
Okay, so you kind of hit on a couple of good things. When you have thinning hair, it's a symptom of something else going on, okay? And so when you say you're gluten-free, I mean, you, the dog, the cat, the bird, the fish, spouse, renter, workplace, you can't be working in a bakery, you can't be working in a restaurant, you can't be a cook someplace, you can't be gluten-free yourself and then cooking pancakes for breakfast for your spouse or your kids, okay? I mean, you have to be obsessively gluten-free to maximize absorption. Then you want the 90 essential nutrients. It depends on, income. And so the basic core program is the Healthy Start Pack. And of course, the big hammer in the toolbox is the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. But also your skin requires a lot of nutrition. Now, are you coloring your hair, or is that your normal hair color?
I haven't for a while, actually, no. So I haven't colored. So, but I've noticed, because I'm taking the selenium and the 90, that I don't need to color it as much, because I was going
the hair color is coming back. The hair color is coming back. And it's not because of the selenium, it's because of the other cofactors in the selenium. Okay? Our selenium is totally, don't say that.
Oh.
Because then everybody runs to the store and buys copper, and then they die because they left out the other 89.
True.
You never want to tell what you never want to tell what the secret sauce is, because you kill your customers. when you tell them what the secret sauce is, because people are funny. Well, why should I spend money for all 90 when I can just buy the one? Bam, you're dead. Okay, so you really have to watch out for them by not telling them what the one is. They have to do the whole program. Then they're going to have a very high percentage of success. Okay, then in addition to the 90 essential nutrients, we have what we call the hair, skin hair product. Okay, hair, skin, and nails. Hair, skin, and nails is called. And so you can take 3 of those twice a day, hair, skin, and nails. And then also you need circulation to the roots of all the hair follicles. And so you need the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month per 100 pounds of body weight. And I mean, you got to get rid of the bad foods. I mean, there is no room for any fried foods, processed meats, oils, glutens, wheat, butter, and oats, and sugar. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caroline. We are going to go to Jay Horton. If you want to unmute yourself, let us know where you're from and ask Dr. Wallach a question. Go ahead.
Hi.
Kia ora. It's Jay and Sibylla here. Just wanting to find out, along with the healthy pack.
So I've been having problems for many years around being anemic, and it keeps coming back. Like I get iron transfusions once a year, and it's just the same thing. I am gluten-free, and I have a relatively good diet, and I'd like to know what I can take and start with. I'm not taking anything.
How much do you weigh? What do you weigh?
About 70 kilos.
Okay, so maybe 160 pounds. How tall are you?
168
centimeters.
1.68 meters.
Okay. I don't know what that means. I'd have to do the math. Okay, you're 5'2" or what?
5'8".
5'8". Oh, she's a basketball player. Okay, a tall one.
No, I'm not tall. No, not at all.
Anyways.
Normal size. Normal length.
Okay, a normal Australian, a normal New Zealander, or a normal American. I mean, what are you talking about?
I'm from Germany.
Oh, well, okay, that tells me a lot. You're short and heavy. Okay, the Germans. Okay, all right. Okay, so you need to get rid of all the bad foods and everybody in your surroundings. You cannot be gluten-free and then cook gluten for somebody else and think you're gluten-free. Okay, yeah, that's a big mistake that specifically women make. They, say, well, I'm drop dead gluten-free. Well, do you cook breakfast for your husband? Yeah. Well, what do you cook? Well, I give him pancakes and waffles and oatmeal. And well, that's why you are not absorbing your nutrients. Everybody in the household's got to be drop dead gluten-free. There are no possibility of any gluten in the house if you're going to be gluten-free. Then at 148 pounds, 150 pounds, something like that, I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. That's the biggest hammer we have in our toolbox. Okay, take a full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to take our MSM, get 1 bottle a month of the MSM, so you can take 6 of those a day, 3 and 3, or 2, 2 and 2, whatever's easier for you. It's a big bottle, you'll be able to do that. And that's going to help you build your bone marrow, which makes your red blood cells. Now, do you have any ringing in your ears? Do you have a tone or a tinnitus in your ear, kind of like that noise?
What? I do, yeah, at times.
Okay.
Okay.
It comes and goes. Yeah, you have. Well, you have osteoporosis of your skull is causing that problem. Do you ever have vertigo or balance problems or dizziness?
At times, yeah.
Okay, comes and goes. Yeah. Okay, that's also caused by osteoporosis of the skull. So, everything I said to you is quite correct then. All right. And you need to stay away from the gluten so you can maximize absorption. And remember, your bone marrow requires all these nutrients to make red blood cells. And so if somebody has to go in for an iron shot once a month or twice a year, whatever it is, or B12 shots once a month or twice a year, whatever it is, their bone marrow isn't working. Okay. Do you ever get any bleeding under your skin, any hemorrhages under your skin?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Okay, not yet. Okay. All right. So do all that and make sure you read the label on the dog food and the cat food and all that kind of stuff. And when you go out to eat at a restaurant, you want to tell them, look, here's my card. Give them a business card. Say, look, I am deathly allergic to gluten. I'm going to order everything to be gluten-free So don't make a mistake and bring me something that's made with gluten, because I will die before I get out the door. Let them know on the front end that you don't want anything to do with gluten. Don't, have it delivered to your plate and you eat it and you go home and say, oh, there may have been some gluten in there. No, you have to be proactive and let them know, don't even say the word gluten when you come to my table, okay? I don't want any gluten. Here's my card. You know who I am, and you don't want me coming after you. And so you have to, even make pizza crust out of cauliflower and rice and potato flour, okay? And these gluten-free. I'll have, for breakfast, I'll have a gluten-free pizza with the cheese and poultry and fish and smoked salmon and vegetables on there with cheese and stuff. But I won't have any of the processed meats on it. And I won't have a wheat crust. And then I'll have my 3 poached eggs to go along with my gluten-free pizza, okay, for breakfast, along with all my supplements. Now, I do that twice a week. And then, of course, the other times I'll have rice. You can have rice all you want. You want to eat like an Asian. You want baked sweet potatoes and butter. You want rice. You do not want fried rice because you're heating up oils with the rice. No. You can have wild rice. You can have brown rice. You can have red rice, yellow rice, white rice, but you cannot have fried rice.
Okay.
You're shaking your head means you're making all those mistakes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's hear from you every couple of weeks. And, you're going to be a great testimony. You'll help a lot of people with your story.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Vivian from Christchurch. Vivian from Christchurch, if you want to unmute yourself and ask Dr. Wallach your question, go ahead. Vivian, are you there?
Yeah, I am now. I've finally found the right thing to unmute. Doc, I'm 63, 176 pounds now. Just recently, over the last sort of 8 months, I've ditched 20 kgs, which is about 40 pounds.
Okay, good.
But I have vertigo quite only if I tip my head backwards or sometimes to the side. It started a couple of years ago. I just get little bouts of it, but now it's kind of like every day. I have 20 ringing in my ears.
Okay.
I'm 5'6". Did I say my weight? 176 pounds. And you just mentioned something before about bleeding under your skin, and I do if I just sort of like scrape myself.
Okay.
That as well. So, and my eyes are getting progressively worse.
Okay, so your eyes are slowly getting worse.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, okay. You have severe osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the optic nerve, which is cranial nerve number 2. You're squeezing the auditory branch of the 8th cranial nerve, causing the tinnitus and ringing in the ears. You're squeezing the vestibular branch of the 8th cranial nerve, causing the dizziness and balance issues. Do you have an irregular heartbeat or a fast heart rate?
Probably every so often, but it's not like really every day. But
okay, it comes and goes, yeah. So you're squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve also, okay? It's all caused by osteoporosis of the skull. So you're one of these lovely folks that need to get this book and read it so you understand exactly what's going on. It's called It's All in Your Head, okay? And you can go to that website, drjwallach.com. It's all lowercase, drjwallach.com, and get a hold of this. In fact, this book is my latest one. I got another one coming out here in a couple of months, but this particular book was a bestseller a couple of weeks ago on Kindle, Amazon, and Apple ebooks, okay? And so we're very, very proud of that because doctors don't even think about osteoporosis of the skull. They only think about osteoporosis, of the legs and the pelvis and the vertebrae, because all their golf buddies, I'll repeat that, all of their golf buddies are people they would refer you to if you have things going on in your skull and your brain. Neurologists, eye doctors, dentists, hearing doctors, balance issues, memory, okay, all those kind of things. Bell's palsy or face troops, pain in your face where you get trigeminal neuralgia, okay? All of those things are caused by squeezing of those cranial nerves. And of course, your doctor sends you to a specialist who is his golf buddy. Hello. But this will all go away if you get on that program. All these things will go away and your hair color will come back. Do you have varicose veins in your legs or spider veins in your legs?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That same deficiency that causes white, gray, and silver hair causes varicose veins. Your varicose veins will go away without surgery. Your hair color will come back when you do what I just told you.
Okay.
Okay? Call us every couple of weeks. You're going to be a great testimony. You will help a lot of people with your story, dear.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless. You bet.
Thank you, Vivian. And we're going to go to Tam and Sher from New Zealand. If you want to unmute and say hello to Dr. Wallach.
Atrial fibrillation.
Atrial fibrillation, yeah.
No, atrial fibrillation.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. The typo.
with an F, fibrillation, not trill. Okay, atrial fibrillation. Okay, when you have AFib, that's osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, which actually controls the rate and rhythm of the heart. And that goes, along with the story I told of the congressman from Baltimore, Maryland, who Johns Hopkins, they killed him. He had AFib. So you don't want to go to Johns Hopkins for that one. But at any rate, how much does she weigh? What do you weigh?
I weigh 84 kgs.
Okay, so that's 160, about 180 pounds. I want you to get rid of all the bad stuff so you can maximize absorption. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, rye, and oats, no sugar. And then I want you to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I want you to have 2 bottles of the MSM per month, because I want you to take 9 of those tablets a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time, to help rebuild the skull, to help rebuild the disc between the vertebrae. I want you to get vitamin D3. I want you to take 3 of the capsules of vitamin D3 twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. I also want you to take our collagen. Go ahead and take 3 of those twice a day. Maybe three times a day. It'll be 2 bottles a month of our collagen, or glucogel it's called, capsules. And call us every couple of weeks, because you're going to have a great testimony. All of these things you're complaining about are secondary to osteoporosis, which we've been talking about tonight and in the morning your time. And it's one of those things where it's all totally preventable. They're all part of that metabolic syndrome, with avoiding the bad foods so you can maximize absorption, taking all the nutrients. Your body and brain, your skull will rebuild itself. And you're going to be one of those great stories that's going to help a lot of people. So I expect to hear from you every couple of weeks. We can tweak things if we need to, but you're going to have a great story, and you're going to help a lot of people with your story.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. And this call is recorded, so you can get a recording of this at any time. I usually edit these. And
these things are very common. They occur millions of times every day around the world, and doctors still just treat them with drugs and surgery when they're just simple nutritional deficiencies.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. We're going to go to Trich in Auckland. Trish.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. I spoke to you last week about my husband's diabetes and dementia, and I mentioned to you that he has very high cholesterol. And I figured out, I recall you saying that, normal cholesterol can be anywhere between 350 and 500.
Yes.
Well, his is about 658.
Okay. Well, have him get off all the bad foods.
Yeah, he's off that.
Okay. And then he needs to be taking the 90 essential nutrients.
Yep.
Okay. And I would have him specifically take, if without his cholesterol that high, he wouldn't be having dementia. Okay. Because 75% of your brain weight is cholesterol. Okay. And so is he active sexually?
No.
Okay. Well, testosterone is 95% by weight cholesterol.
Yep.
So I want him also to get 3 of our Xera test tablets twice a day. It's called Xera, Xera-test, T-E-S-T. It makes testosterone possible from the cells in the testicle that make testosterone, okay? Yep. And so he needs that testosterone, and he needs that cholesterol. But if he's not be able to make use of it because he's not absorbing the nutrients necessary to convert it to something the Sertoli cells can use, okay? So I hope that helps you out.
It does. Thank you very much. I always appreciate your advice.
Yeah, well, keep us in touch. Keep calling us, because again, your story, your testimony is going to be a great help to many people.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are going to go to Tony now in Australia. Tony is 71. If you want to unmute yourself there, Tony, and say hi to Dr. Wallach.
G'day, Doc. This is the first time I've been on, and I didn't even know this was happening until yesterday.
Okay, good day.
I get low blood pressure at times, and it's such that I can't drive. I look like I'm a drunk, and it just happens occasionally, but it can be dangerous. What's to go there, do you think?
Okay. Now let's stop there for a minute. Have you ever taken your blood sugar when you think you have low blood pressure?
No, don't know. Haven't got the facility to do so here.
You don't need facilities.
Well,
you can go to a pharmacy. Listen to me. You can go to a pharmacy without a prescription, get these little test strips. Okay, cost you $1.50 US for each test strip. They come in bottles of 3, 4, and 5. You can test your blood. You stick your finger, put it on that test strip, and hold it up to the bottle. The bottle has a rainbow of colors.
Right.
You match the color, and it'll tell you. You don't need a machine.
Yeah, I'm in Australia. I don't know if we can get them off without a prescription.
I believe you can.
Okay, I believe you.
Okay, and so you want to find out, do you really have what's called narcolepsy? And does this happen usually a half hour to an hour after dinner or breakfast or lunch?
No,
think about it.
It can be any time. I wake up with it in the morning.
Okay, well, I want to know when you wake up with it, I want you to test your blood sugar, your urine sugar right then. I want to know, is this narcolepsy? Is this reactive hypoglycemia? Or is it really low blood pressure? You can buy a machine, I don't know, for 10, 12 bucks, take your own blood pressure and see what it is. I don't want any guessing here.
Yeah.
Do you have any varicose veins in your legs?
I think there's one developing, I noticed the other day. But
okay, now the reason why I'm asking that, you have white hair. The same deficiency that causes white hair causes
look at
varicose.
that.
Yeah.
That's the 90 minerals.
Yeah. The color's coming back, yeah.
You told us a long time ago you'd end up like a mohawk.
That's right. And so basically, so you need to really be factual when you're talking about something.
Yep.
But we see this all the time. 300, 400, 500, 1,000 years ago, they used to call it narcolepsy. You may have even heard the word narcolepsy.
No.
Usually within a half hour to an hour after eating, your body releases a lot of insulin normally, and it'll drive your blood sugar down, and you get sleepy. And, I sit there, I get on the couch and I watch TV after dinner. I'll get a little drowsy.
No.
Same way.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to know what your blood sugar is when you get, when you're ready to go to sleep on the couch, a half hour, an hour after dinner. I want to know what your blood sugar is at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's your homework. And but then, what do you weigh? What's your body weight?
73 kilo.
Okay, so 160 pounds maybe. Again, this is for our listening and viewing audience,
Yep.
as well as for you.
Yep.
None of the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, butter, and oats, no sugar. And then I want you to take 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. Then I want you to take the Sweeties, take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. I want you also to take the MSM. I want you to take 3 of those twice a day, the MSM. That'll be 1 bottle a month of the MSM. And then vitamin D3, I want you to take 3 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month, vitamin D3, so you can absorb minerals and calcium and put them in the bones and so forth. Also, it's good for your immune system, the vitamin D3. And so then give us a call, every week, every couple of weeks, whatever it is, and keep track so we can follow your progress or lack of progress. If we have to, we'll tweak it. But I want to know what your blood sugar is when you're feeling all this tiredness and low blood pressure and stuff. I want to know what your blood sugar is at that time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, how do I get a recording of this so I can write it down?
I will, Tony, you can contact me or contact your upline, and I do post it on the New Zealand page as well.
Right.
Contact your associate and they can get in contact with me.
Thanks, Doc.
I will be
There we go.
who's on the call. Yes.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
We love you, Kiwis.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. We've got time for like 1 or 2 more questions. We're getting to the end of the hour here. Dracy has a question. Dracy is here to help us grow our business down under. And in New Zealand, Dracy, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I really want to thank Dr. Wallach for your passion and your commitment, not only to the world, but especially to Down Under. We're just getting raving reviews of your commitment every Saturday, and I just wanted to highlight that we had 61 people on this call today.
Wow.
I just want to say, you know, you're the crusaders that we have Down Under are really proud of what we do, and we're really happy to promote.
We're very proud of you and our relationship with you. You're your family, and so we appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So recently I was with a girlfriend. She's 40 years old, and she told me she's trying to get pregnant, and she's scheduling herself for IVF. And of course I said, oh my God, can you please let me
She's
help
scheduling herself for what?
like going through IVF treatment. So she's to help her have a baby. And so
wait a minute, IBF?
IVF, I guess
Oh,
it's
in vitro fertilization. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
IV. V is in Victor. I'm thinking B. Okay, IV. Okay. Okay. I've gotten more women pregnant than any other man in history.
And I know that, and I told her that, and I said, I gave her your book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. I told her to watch your documentary, and then I've invited her onto a call. We couldn't do it today, so I said, well, I'll ask some questions, and then you can ask me questions.
Yeah. Well, she needs to be getting rid of all the bad stuff so she can absorb, right? No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten. Same way with hubby-to-be or hubby. All right. She also needs to take 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. Hubby needs to do that, 3 eggs twice a day, okay, with soft yolks. Hard-boiled eggs don't count. And you can't be adding flour to the scrambled eggs because that's gluten, right? And then I would have her take the Xerafem, Xera-FEM, take 3 of those twice a day. He needs to take the Xera test, take 3 of those twice a day for him. That's 2 bottles a month for him. And again, the eggs part is very important, and stay away from the bad stuff to maximize absorption. And never stop taking the supplements, even because if she wants to breastfeed the baby, then she's got to have these nutrients coming through the breast milk as well. Okay?
Okay.
Never fails. It never fails.
Fantastic. Well, I will get her onto that, and hopefully we have some fabulous testimonies, because I
great.
Love to be a part of helping getting them pregnant as well. So, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a million kids out there named after my first name.
Thank you, Dracy. Thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
God
Wallach.
bless.
I think we've got time for one more question.
Okay,
and
let's do it.
just got a quick good news story from Janine. She just wanted to say she had a mother with a plant that died, and put the 2 scoops of Bloomin' Minerals back in the soil, and the plant came back to life. So don't forget, Dr. Wallach is also a vet, and the Bloomin' Minerals are great for growing foods. And
yeah. And for every plant you save, you're saving the earth. So thank you for saving the plant.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. We're going to go to the last question. Michael, Michael Neville, if you want to unmute yourself, let us know where you're from. Go ahead and you can speak to Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Joel. It's Michael. I have a son I'm in Melbourne. I have a son who is 33, 75K, so about 70K, very fit and healthy, but he's just been diagnosed with gallstones. Gets a lot of pain.
Okay. Well, he's not fit and healthy if he's got gallstones. His liver's not happy. Okay.
He's just fit, yeah.
Okay. So, people, well, I eat well. Well, that's meaningless because plants only need 3 minerals from the soil. You need 60. You could be 57 short and eating well. That'd be like taking dirt from Texas and putting it in your car instead of oil. There's bound to be some oil in it. That's dirt from Texas. Nobody in their right mind would do that to their car, but they do that to themselves all the time. So, your son needs to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. I'd have him get the MSM so I can take 3 of those twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month. And also, I don't know if he works out or goes to the gym or works hard physically in his job. He needs to take and use our Rebound or sports drink. Use our sports drink 2 or 3 times a day with 100 nutrients in it. Gatorade and Red Bull only have 2 or 3 nutrients, and they're primarily sugar and caffeine. They're energy drinks. They're not really sports drinks. Okay. Our Rebound has 100 nutrients in it. It's a fun way to replenish what you're losing when you're sweating, whether from work or exercise, but also it gives you more nutrients as well as energy and prevents you. We put extra stuff in there, particularly for the heart, to reduce the risk of sudden heart death that you see in young athletes all the time. And so, you know, give us an update. I'm on every Friday afternoon my time, every Friday or Saturday morning your time, and so you guys can you know, give us a report. And your son's story will be a great thing for, you know, young people who need these things. Again, you want to think about something called immortality, right? You want to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your years. You got to get rid of the bad foods, take the 90 essential nutrients. Don't wait until you're sick and dying to think about these things. You want to get rid of the bad foods before you get sick and dying, and you want to take the 90 essential nutrients before you get sick and dying. If you have these pre-existing conditions, you better get off the bad foods and get on the 90. And this book, and there's a CD that goes along with it. And so you will be able to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. And thank you so much. Want to hear the testimony in a week.
Thank you, Joel. Michael. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. What another hour of great information. These are recorded. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for all the good things you do. We appreciate our Australian and New Zealand and Hawaiian family out there in the Pacific. Every other Thursday, I also talk to the Philippines, not too far away from you guys. So I do talk with them. And so I can't wait till they lift this travel ban. You know, I spent a lot of time in the Pacific when I was in the Air Force. And so I know you guys like family. I love you. God bless, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. I'm going to unmute everybody so you can all say goodbye and aloha to Dr. Wallach till next week.
Bye.
Hello.
See you later, Doc. Thank you.
Hello, this is Jamel Boukabou, 2-star executive with Youngevity International. Another 1 hour of Dr. Wallach, 20-minute lecture, 20-minute Q&A. And you are welcome to share this with whoever you like. Please get in touch with your referrer or associate if you're interested in getting the products at wholesale or becoming a distributor like myself and earning money at the same time. I'm not a doctor or a healthcare professional, so please contact your own, but here is the doctor that I think is the best on the planet, Dr. Joel Wallach.